Hi, I'm Michael Whitehouse, the guy who knows a guy. So I'm using my new whiteboard here. I hope this format works. We're going to experiment with it. But I want to start with a question. What's the difference between surgery and stabbing, right? Both of them involve someone taking a knife and cutting you open, but there's some difference between them, right? And of course, the difference is consent. The difference is also intent, but consent is the big difference. If somebody comes up to you with a knife and cuts you open, that's not surgery, that's assault. Whereas if you go to the doctor and say, hey doc, I got a problem, and the doctor says, well, you're gonna need surgery, we're gonna have to cut you open, we're gonna do this and that and the other thing, and then hopefully you get better. You say, okay doc, whatever you gotta do that. You have consented to the surgery. Now it is not assault, it is medical treatment. And that's true psychologically as well. You know, motivation versus abuse. If you're yelling at someone to do it, if I have consented, in fact, I get that a couple times a week. I will have someone yell at me, and they're pretty friendly about it, but you know, it's a raised tone and telling me to keep going and pushing me to a point of discomfort or pain as I exercise. But I want them to, when I go to karate, I want that kind of push. I want that kind of discipline because I have consented to it. I want the results and they are helping me to get them. We are a team. We are working together in that way. The problem is sometimes that gets twisted, and that's where you move from here to here. I made a post recently talking about the personalized motivation, because to me, the idea of someone making a video that says, Michael, you can do it. Michael, you are ready to do this. You are ready to get up. You are ready to be amazing. I'm like, that sounds awesome. I want that. In fact, I've recorded some for myself. I love it. I had not one but two people say, that sounds terrifying. That would trigger me. That would give me an anxiety attack. I hate it. And I thought, wow, how could you hate that? It's motivation. I want to help. It's literally someone you're hiring to record a message for you. You know what the intent is because you're hiring me to do it, but it still triggered them. And one of them was nice enough to go into detail, which was wonderful to see that level of honesty. And what they explained was that they had had narcissistic people in their past who abused the concept, who instead of simply teaching and coaching would say, the change is in you, you've got to change. And here's the problem. If you are, without consent, telling someone that it changes in them, then you're not acknowledging the fundamental principle you're quoting, which is the changes in you. Let me give you an example, tone it down a little bit. My wife is amazing. She is wonderful, and I love her very much, which has a couple of things that bug me a little bit. I'm going to give you one example. I like to empty the dishwasher, and as soon as it is empty, every dish goes in the dishwasher. Nothing goes in the sink. She will often put dishes into the sink, not check the dishwasher, and then fill the dishwasher when she has a chance. This bugged me a lot. We actually had fights about the dishwasher and what the proper dishwasher function would be. And then I realized what the problem was. The problem is not the dishwasher's not being filled and I've got to deal with grease. The problem is I'm upset by it. Really, that's what the problem is. Objectively, our lives are not worse because there's dishes in the sink versus in the dishwasher. The problem is that I'm bothered by it. I can solve that problem, and I can solve that without involving her by changing my own mindset. And it's appropriate for me to make that change, and good. But if she were to say, Michael, it's not a big deal, you need to change your mindset on that. Well, she could, in her own agency, change the way she does the dishes. So she shouldn't be telling me that. If I went to my friend John and I said, hey John, I'm having this problem and we're fighting about the dishes, and John said, would you like my advice? And I said, okay John, what's your advice? And John said, I don't think the problem is the dishes. I think the problem is your mindset. I think you should change your mindset instead of trying to get her the way she does dishes. That would be okay because I would have gone to John and consented to be coached. I actually have a coach, Lois Kofi, fantastic coach, and she did something that I found odd at first. We'd be in a group coaching session. Someone would be reporting what they'd done for the week, and she would say, can I coach you for a moment? And I'd be like, I'm thinking to myself, of course she can coach us. We're paying her to coach us. Why would she have to ask, can I coach you for a moment in a coaching session? And it's because in the flow of the conversation, we weren't in a coaching mood. We're in a coaching mode. And she wanted to make sure she had consent at that moment to give advice, and that the student was ready to receive the advice by asking the question and getting the consent, which is absolutely key. So the message here, and this message is for two people. One is if you're the person doing it wrong. You might be the person who is accidentally, unintentionally abusing someone with these concepts, and maybe you don't mean to. If you do mean to, well, you're probably not watching my videos anyway, because if you're a narcissist, you probably think you know everything you need to know, so why would you have to watch me? But if you want to be better, think about this next time you give someone advice, next time you advise someone that the solutions are within themselves and they need to make changes. Do you have consent to do this? Even my 6-year-old, if I give her advice, I will pause and say, Rowan, can I give you a piece of advice on this? Can I give you a recommendation? Do you mind if I do it? And I'm not perfect, right? As I record this, I'm realizing I need to be better about this myself. But whenever you're going to give that advice, whenever you're going to tell someone they should change, always make sure they are ready to receive it. And, you know, even below the abuse level, there is still simply the level of giving good advice. People have to be ready to receive. Can I give you some advice? Can I give you a recommendation? Yeah, you give me a recommendation. Okay, here is my advice. On the other hand, if you have a boss, if you have a parent, if you have a religious leader, whatever, who is telling you, you need to change, and is not getting your consent, and is simply inflicting, you should take responsibility, not inflict responsibility. If they're simply inflicting responsibility on you, if they're inflicting the need to change on you, the change can be them. The change could be quit the job and find another one. The change could be restructure the relationship if you're able to, or restructure your own mind to put up those walls so you say, I know what you're saying, I just don't care. The change could be stop going to that church. The change that they are saying you need to make could be to eliminate them from your life. They're right. You may need to make a change, and that change may need to be to get this abusive, toxic person out of your life. So they are right, just not in the way they think. I would love to hear your thoughts, because it's a little bit deeper than I usually go. This is a bit more of an impactful concept than I usually get into. I really want to talk about this because I got such a response to that. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear your comments down below, or email me privately at michael@guywhoknowsaguy.com. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.